Most men get rejected because they ask the wrong way. They push instead of connecting. But the right questions don't create pressure. They create attraction. When you do it right, she doesn't pull away. She leans in. I'm going to start this video with something honest. Most men don't actually fear intimacy. They fear rejection. They fear that tiny moment where the energy shifts, where they make a move and suddenly the woman becomes distant, cold, uncomfortable, or emotionally unavailable. And if you've ever experienced that before, you know how quickly it can destroy your confidence. One awkward moment can make a man overthink every interaction after that. But what if the problem was never your looks, never your money, never even your confidence? What if the real issue was the emotional experience you were creating without realizing it? Because women rarely reject intimacy itself. They reject the emotional feeling attached to it. And by the way, before we go deeper, I want you to do something for me. If you've ever been confused by mixed signals from a woman, if you've ever felt like she liked you one moment and pulled away the next, hit the like button and comment energy below. I genuinely want to know how many men watching this have experienced that emotional confusion. My name is Lauren, and in this video, I'm going to show you the psychology behind attraction in a way most people never explain it. Not pickup lines, not manipulation, not fake alpha male nonsense. I'm talking about emotional dynamics, the subtle psychological triggers that make a woman feel safe enough, connected enough, and emotionally drawn enough to naturally move closer to you without pressure. And I need you to really listen carefully to this next part, because it changes everything. Women do not experience attraction the way men do. For most men, attraction is immediate, visual, direct. You see a woman, your brain reacts instantly. But female attraction is layered, emotional, contextual. It builds through moments, feelings, safety, curiosity, emotional tension, and anticipation. That's why a woman can meet a man and feel almost nothing at first. Then suddenly, 2 weeks later, she can't stop thinking about him. Have you ever wondered why that happens? It's because women emotionally attach to experiences before they attach to desire. Think about it like music. Men often experience attraction like flipping on a light switch. Women experience attraction like slowly turning up the volume on a song until suddenly it surrounds them emotionally. And the men who understand this become unforgettable because they stop trying to force attraction and start creating emotional experiences instead. I once worked with a client who was incredibly successful financially. Good-looking guy, smart, funny, but every single relationship ended the same way. Women would initially like him, then suddenly lose interest. He thought women were playing games, but after watching him interact on dates, the problem became obvious. He rushed emotional pacing. Every interaction felt like he was trying to arrive somewhere. Even his compliments had pressure hidden inside them. He wasn't connecting. He was seeking validation and certainty, and women feel that instantly. The moment he stopped trying to get intimacy and started focusing on emotional presence, everything changed. Women began texting him first. Dates became longer. Physical intimacy happened naturally. And, most importantly, rejection almost disappeared. Not because he manipulated anyone, but because he finally understood female psychology. And this brings us to the first powerful principle most men completely miss. Women don't respond well to direct pressure because pressure activates emotional defense systems. The female mind is constantly scanning emotional safety, not just physical safety, emotional safety. Will I feel judged? Will I regret this? Will this man become angry if I say no? Does he actually see me? Or is he just trying to get something from me? These emotional calculations happen subconsciously and fast, which means if a woman senses desperation, pressure, or emotional instability from a man, attraction shuts down instantly. And this is exactly why the men who try the hardest often fail the fastest. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The men women feel safest with are usually the men who are emotionally calm around attraction. Men who don't rush. Men who don't need immediate reassurance. Men who are comfortable with tension instead of trying to force a result. That emotional steadiness is incredibly attractive because it allows a woman to relax into her feminine energy instead of staying guarded. And if you've noticed, the most magnetic men are rarely the loudest men in the room. They're usually the calmest. Let me explain something very important here because social media has completely distorted masculinity. Masculine energy is not aggression. It's not domination. It's not trying to win women. True masculine energy is emotional steadiness. It's being grounded enough that a woman doesn't feel emotionally rushed around you. Imagine sitting with someone who constantly needs reassurance, someone who anxiously watches your reactions, someone trying too hard to impress you every second. You feel pressure around them, right? Now imagine someone relaxed, present, attentive, comfortable in silence, comfortable with eye contact, comfortable with pauses. That energy feels safe, and safety is where attraction begins for women. Now, let me tell you something almost nobody talks about. A woman's attraction often grows strongest in the space between moments. Not during the obvious flirting, not during the compliments, not during the direct advances, but in the subtle emotional pauses. The eye contact that lasts 1 second longer than expected. The calm silence after laughter. The feeling that something emotional is building underneath the conversation. That anticipation creates emotional tension. And emotional tension is the real foundation of chemistry. This is why mysterious men often attract women without even trying very hard. It's not because mystery itself is attractive. It's because uncertainty creates emotional engagement. The brain becomes curious. It leans in emotionally, trying to understand more. Now, obviously, you should never play manipulative games. But understanding emotional pacing matters deeply. One of the most powerful psychological shifts you can make is this. Stop trying to convince women to like you. Instead, focus on creating an emotional atmosphere where connection naturally grows. That single shift changes your entire energy, and women feel it immediately. Let's talk about the biggest mistake men make when trying to escalate intimacy. They ask logically instead of emotionally. Do you want to come over? Should we go somewhere private? Do you want to hook up? These questions immediately force a woman into analysis mode, and analysis kills emotional tension. The conscious mind starts calculating consequences, social judgment, safety concerns, future expectations, and suddenly the emotional flow disappears. But emotionally intelligent men understand something different. Women respond more deeply to emotional invitation than direct request. There's a huge psychological difference between, "Do you want to come over?" and, "I really like how comfortable this feels with you." One feels transactional, the other feels emotional. One creates pressure, the other creates connection. And connection is what naturally opens the door to intimacy. Now, let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you're on a date with a woman. The chemistry is obvious. You're laughing. She's making prolonged eye contact. She's touching your arm occasionally. Most men, at this point, become mentally obsessed with escalation. They stop being present. Instead of enjoying the moment, they start internally panicking. When do I kiss her? Should I make a move now? What if she rejects me? And the woman feels that anxiety instantly. But emotionally intelligent men do something different. They slow down. They allow the moment to breathe. Maybe they lean back slightly. Maybe they smile and pause. Maybe they shift the conversation deeper emotionally instead of more sexually. And suddenly, something fascinating happens. The woman begins leaning forward emotionally herself. Why? Because the absence of pressure allows her own attraction to surface naturally. This is one of the deepest truths about female psychology. Desire grows best in emotionally safe environments, not forced environments, not rushed environments, not overly sexual environments, emotionally safe environments. Now, I want to ask you something honestly. Have you ever noticed that the women who seemed most attracted to you were usually the moments when you weren't desperately trying to impress them? That's not accidental. Because relaxed energy communicates abundance psychologically, desperation communicates fear, calmness communicates confidence, and women are highly sensitive to emotional congruence. What you feel internally leaks into your body language, your tone, your pacing, your eye contact, your facial expressions, everything. This is why some men say all the right things but still fail. Their energy contradicts their words. A calm man doesn't need constant validation. He doesn't chase emotional certainty every 5 minutes. He allows connection to unfold naturally. And, ironically, that's exactly what makes women feel emotionally drawn toward him. Now here's another psychological principle most men overlook completely. Women become emotionally attached to how they feel around you, not just who you are. Let that sink in. A woman may forget your exact words. She may forget the restaurant. She may even forget parts of the conversation. But she will never forget how your energy made her feel emotionally. Did she feel relaxed? Safe? Desired without pressure? Seen? Comfortable? Free to be feminine? Those emotional memories become addictive. And this is exactly why emotionally intelligent men often outperform better-looking men in dating, because emotional experience matters more than surface-level attraction over time. Now, let's go even deeper into this. One of the strongest attraction triggers in female psychology is anticipation. Not certainty, not immediate gratification, anticipation. Think about the moments in your life that felt most emotionally intense. Usually it wasn't the final outcome itself. It was the build-up, the waiting, the wondering, the emotional tension. Female attraction works very similarly. When everything becomes too obvious too quickly, emotional tension disappears. But when emotional connection builds gradually, anticipation grows, and anticipation amplifies desire. That's why subtle, emotionally suggestive statements are so powerful. Instead of saying, "I want you," you might say, "You have a really calming energy. I feel weirdly comfortable around you. There's something different about talking to you." These statements don't pressure her. They invite emotional reflection. They make her pause internally and feel the connection herself. And once a woman emotionally feels the connection, attraction deepens naturally. Now, here's where things become even more powerful, because most men think attraction is created by saying the perfect thing. But in reality, attraction is usually created by emotional timing. What you say matters far less than when and how you say it. A woman can hear the exact same sentence from 2 different men and react completely differently depending on the emotional atmosphere around it. That's why emotionally intelligent men focus less on lines and more on emotional calibration. They pay attention. They notice her breathing slow down during conversation. They notice when her voice softens. They notice when she starts holding eye contact longer. They notice when she becomes more playful, more relaxed, more open emotionally. And this awareness changes everything because attraction is not a performance. It's a dance. The biggest mistake men make is trying to lead the entire dance alone. They push forward without noticing whether she's emotionally moving with them. But real chemistry happens through mutual emotional pacing. If she leans in emotionally, you lean in slightly too. If she becomes vulnerable, you match that vulnerability calmly. If she creates warmth, you reflect warmth back. This is called emotional mirroring. And psychologically, mirroring creates one of the strongest feelings of human connection possible. Because human beings are biologically wired to trust people who emotionally match them. That's why you naturally feel closer to people who understand your humor, your emotional rhythm, your energy. And women are especially sensitive to this during attraction. When a woman feels emotionally mirrored by a man, her nervous system relaxes. She feels understood without needing to over-explain herself. And feeling understood is deeply intimate. Now I want to tell you about something called emotional safety loops. This concept is powerful. Every positive interaction either increases emotional openness or decreases it. For example, if she shares something vulnerable and you judge her, tease her harshly, or dismiss it, emotional safety decreases. But if she shares something vulnerable and you respond calmly, warmly, and without pressure, emotional safety increases. Every emotionally safe interaction tells her subconsciously, I can relax around this man. And when enough emotional safety builds, intimacy stops feeling risky. It starts feeling natural. That's why some women can know a man for years and never feel attracted, while another man creates emotional intimacy in 2 conversations. Because emotional depth matters more than time alone. Now let's talk about something men misunderstand constantly. Women do not want to feel hunted emotionally. They want to feel chosen, while still feeling emotionally free. There's a massive difference. Pressure suffocates attraction. Freedom strengthens it. This is why the soft withdrawal effect works so well psychologically. When a man slightly leans back emotionally instead of constantly pushing forward, the woman finally has emotional space to feel her own desire. And desire must feel self-generated to feel authentic. Think about this carefully. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the moment someone stops chasing, the other person suddenly becomes more interested? That happens because emotional space creates clarity. When pressure disappears, true feelings surface. This doesn't mean playing manipulative games or pretending not to care. That's immature. Real emotional restraint means you're secure enough not to force outcomes, and security is magnetic. One woman once explained this perfectly during a counseling session. She said, "The safest men are the men who don't make me feel trapped emotionally." That sentence stayed with me for years because it explains female attraction better than most dating advice ever could. Women are constantly evaluating emotional pressure. Can she say no safely? Can she slow things down safely? Can she express uncertainty safely? If the answer is yes, trust grows, and trust is the gateway to intimacy. Now here's another thing. Almost nobody tells men. A woman often becomes emotionally attracted when she feels emotionally seen, not when she feels emotionally chased. There's a huge difference between noticing a woman and pursuing her aggressively. Emotionally intelligent men notice details, not superficial things only, not just her appearance. They notice her emotional world, the way she becomes quieter when talking about family, the way her confidence shifts in different environments, the subtle sadness behind certain jokes, the passions she lights up talking about. When a woman feels emotionally understood, she feels emotionally connected, and emotional connection is what transforms attraction into genuine intimacy. This is why deep conversations often create stronger chemistry than physical flirting alone, because emotional intimacy always amplifies physical attraction. Now let's address something uncomfortable but important. Many men unintentionally sabotage attraction because they make women responsible for their self-worth. This is where desperation truly comes from. When a man subconsciously thinks, if she wants me, I'm valuable. If she rejects me, I'm not enough. His energy becomes heavy. Every interaction suddenly carries emotional pressure because he's seeking emotional validation instead of connection. And women feel that burden immediately. But emotionally grounded men approach attraction differently. They enjoy women deeply, without needing women to emotionally complete them. That inner stability changes their entire presence. They become more playful, more relaxed, more authentic, more emotionally attractive. Because confidence isn't loudness. Confidence is emotional self-trust, and self-trust creates calmness. Now, let me give you one of the most powerful psychological shifts you can make after this video. Stop obsessing over getting women to like you. Start asking yourself, how do women feel emotionally around me? That question changes everything. Because attraction isn't about performing perfectly, it's about creating emotional experiences that feel safe, exciting, warm, and real. And here's something fascinating. The strongest attraction often happens when a woman feels both emotional safety and emotional mystery at the same time. Safety without mystery becomes friendship. Mystery without safety becomes anxiety. But when both exist together, chemistry explodes. That's why emotionally magnetic men often feel calm yet intriguing, predictable enough to feel safe, unpredictable enough to feel exciting. And this balance is incredibly powerful. Now let's talk about the final emotional mistake that destroys attraction faster than almost anything else: over-escalation. Most men ruin emotional tension because they rush to define, secure, or consume the connection too quickly. But attraction needs breathing room. Imagine watching a movie where every mystery gets explained in the first 10 minutes. There's no emotional tension left. Human attraction works similarly. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is allow the moment to unfold naturally instead of trying to force certainty. That's why emotionally intelligent men don't constantly seek reassurance. They don't panic during pauses. They don't over-message after dates. They don't emotionally flood a woman the second chemistry appears. They understand that emotional pacing matters. And women feel incredibly safe around men who are patient emotionally, because patience communicates confidence. Now, I want you to think about something deeply personal for a second. Think back to the people you felt most emotionally connected to in your life. Was it because they pressured you, or was it because you felt safe being yourself around them? That answer reveals almost everything about human intimacy. Real connection is never forced. It's invited. And the men who understand this stop chasing intimacy directly and start creating emotional environments where intimacy naturally grows on its own. That's the real psychology most people never talk about. Not manipulation, not tricks, not pretending to be someone you're not. Just emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, emotional steadiness. And honestly, those qualities are becoming rare today, which is exactly why they're so attractive. Now, before we finish, I want to leave you with one final thought that might completely change how you approach women from this day forward. A woman is not asking herself, "Is this man perfect?" She's asking herself, "How do I feel when I'm with him?" Do you make her feel tense, judged, rushed, emotionally unsafe? Or do you make her feel relaxed, feminine, emotionally seen, emotionally free, and emotionally alive? Because that feeling, that emotional atmosphere, is what women remember. And the men who master emotional presence rarely need to chase attraction. Attraction starts coming toward them naturally. If this video opened your eyes even a little, take 2 seconds and hit the like button because it tells the algorithm to push this video to more people who genuinely need it. And I want you to comment below. What's one thing women do that has always confused you emotionally? I read more comments than you think, and I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you want deeper psychological insights about attraction, relationships, feminine behavior, emotional intelligence, and human connection, subscribe to Lauren Mind Game. That channel is for people who want to understand psychology beneath the surface, not just dating advice, but the emotional dynamics that truly shape attraction and intimacy. Because once you understand emotions, you stop forcing connections. And that's when connection finally becomes real.